Okay. So we were talking about that whole attitude of gratitude and how it really helps. So what we want to focus in on today are a couple of things. One is I want everybody to celebrate something good. Okay. It can be job search related. I hope something good job search related is out there. It can be personal. But the idea is to start that feeling going as we move forward. This weekend could be a little stressful. The holiday season can be stressful if you're in job search. And one of the things that I want to talk about is how do you deal with some of those comments from well-meaning family and friends, okay, around the Thanksgiving table or other tables. So actually, let me do that first. Has anybody ever been asked at the Thanksgiving dinner, well, how's your job search going? Why haven't you gotten a job yet? Right? So how do you answer those kinds of questions? It's really tempting to go into a long, drawn-out explanation, go through your whole area. And my advice to you is not to. One simple statement. You know, it's going really well. I'm excited by some possibilities. Things are, and then change the subject. If you change the subject, they'll go along with it. But if you keep dwelling, it has a tendency to spiral. And that's not a good thing. You want the holidays and your interactions with other people, especially those who are so well-meaning, right? They have your best interests at heart, but they don't understand your job search. They don't understand the job market. They don't understand what it is you're looking for or why, in many cases, that you haven't found a job yet. Because after all, you know that you're so good and they know you're so good. And they keep reading in the papers about how wonderful the job market is, that there are 2 or 3 jobs for every person who's looking. And they don't understand that those jobs aren't in your area of either expertise or interest. So it's a quick, thank you. It's going really well. I've got lots of things that I'm working on. Now tell me about this, and change the subject. And you may need to do it more than once. But I will tell you that if you're persistent, that will work. Go get the hint. Okay. And change the subject by either asking them a question or focusing on something else outside of job search that's going really well. You can bring that attitude of gratitude to your table as well. Okay. So back to that whole idea of the little engine who could. Back in the olden days, when I was in grad school, one of the things that I did was I did a lot of studying in the psychology area as one of my minors. And there's this whole thing called a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's kind of, if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. The whole idea of gratitude today that we're talking about is that same idea. If you focus in on the good, you focus in on what you're grateful for, more things will come your way. It's that whole idea of paying it forward. So I'd like to go around the room. Okay. We're small enough today that we can probably do that. But both here on the screen and in the chat, I want you to tell us something you are grateful for. Okay. And I'm going to start. I'm grateful for the fact that this year I have at least half of my family here for Thanksgiving on Friday. It was going to be more, but one daughter-in-law developed COVID, so they're not coming. I know. But the fact that we can all gather together and share, and that we can share new baby. And for us, the fact that I can say my husband is healthy enough to at least have everybody over. Hey, for me, that's the best thing in the world. Okay. And the fact that I've started my own business and I'm excited about that. So I have lots of things to celebrate. Okay. So who's next? Who wants to share something good in their lives? Something they're grateful for? All right, Al.
So I'm grateful for many things, like you're saying, my family and the friends who support me through this job search. I think it's funny. I'm looking at the screen, and there's a number of people who I've talked to, who I've known for quite some time. We've been through this job search for a while. Hopefully we support each other. I know Bo reaches out to me. I've talked to Laura and John. I've seen Sue on other calls. And so I think having this kind of community I'm grateful for it, because sometimes you get into that funk where you're like, I'm not good enough. I need to look for something else. Maybe that's something about me. And I think we're all in that situation where sometimes we get into that. And I think I'm happy for the family that I have, even though they can't be with me here at Thanksgiving. Uh, it's a blessing for me to have my children and they're doing well. So what I'm grateful for.
Wonderful. And you're right about the whole idea about job search. Having a support group, having people who understand what you're going through, who are going through it with you. Their search may be different than yours, but the process is going to be the same. Their ups and downs are going to be the same. And because they're going through it with you, unlike your family, they understand. And it's a different kind of support, but it's a support we all need. Thank you, Al. Sue.
I want to focus on this group and so many others on LinkedIn, Linda, and congrats for your jumping off the bridge and your first solo business after all the expertise you've used during decades of or years plus. And it struck me this morning because I was thinking about today's topic and thinking, I am so grateful in many ways. I hate that the pandemic brought us to better Zoom bandwidth, but I'm grateful that people want to gather. Oftentimes Brenda will have meetings during holiday seasons if she's around. And the rest of the world has meetings on Friday that I go to regularly, and I'll do that too. And so even though my family doesn't understand really what I'm doing now in my retirement. And thank you, Al and Cheryl and Susan, all of you who I know pretty more closely than others here. But Linda, you give us a platform for you and me, especially, to learn what people are going through literally every minute, the latest challenges. That's why I can mentor the younger generation of public health professionals, because I hear from them all the time, from people my age or younger who are challenged by all the biases we go through. And so I do want us to recognize family is important, but I'm so grateful to have this ongoing connection with you all, even if it's once a month or once a year or an occasional. And I love seeing each other at different meetings. And I don't want us to forget the role of support, because when I have open office hours, and the course learners tell me they get as much from seeing and interacting with their peers in the chat box and asking their questions as they do from Linda as a leader, me as a leader, whatever. So thank you for the opportunity to be in your group, Linda, but also to learn from all of you who come in the middle of these challenges.
Thank you for sharing, Sue, and for being such an important support person for me, as well as for everyone else. But you're absolutely right. I think in many ways, Zoom was my blessing in disguise, my COVID blessing in disguise, in the sense of broadening communities, teaching us new ways of doing things. In fact, I mentioned that one of my sons and his family is not going to be able to join us this year, but we're still going to Zoom with them for a little bit just to say hi and check in. So that still works. It still brings us together, maybe in a different way, but it still has that sense of community, which is so important. And I can do this with people all over the country, and I've developed huge friendships and support groups and never have I met the person in person. So absolutely, Sue, kudos for that kind of a comment. Okay, who's next? Bo.
So I want to thank you, Linda, and I want to thank Sue and all those who give of their time to help us. Linda's already been a tremendous help to me in my new job search and just in her volunteering, and like to turn the tables on you all for a minute and see how we can help you all. You've got a new business. We want to help you be successful in that. What can we do to help you because you're so gracious with us?
Thank you, Bo. Actually, there are a couple of things that you can do, and we're going to talk about recommendations and endorsements later because that's a way you can help other people in your networks. And that's a great way of giving back and expressing your gratitude. But recommendations, referrals, share this idea. The whole idea of this Job Search Lunch and Learn is to be able to help as many job seekers as we can, making it an open community. It's my way of giving back. It's Sue's way of giving back. After the first of the year, we're going to have some speakers on occasion who are going to share some of their ideas and support with all of you. So for all of us, it's our way of giving back. So share that. Help us make that available to other people who are in job search as well. And then if you know of somebody who's looking for that job search coaching on a one-on-one basis, send them my way. I'm happy to help. Okay, that's the way that I make my money, but this is my way of giving back.
Thank you.
No, thank you, Bo. Okay. Okay, next.
I'll go.
Thank you.
I guess personally, I'm thankful for my health, although parts of my family are not doing as well, and I am grateful for all the colleagues that I've met. Some of the folks here at this group already. As Al had mentioned, we have already spoken. I've spoken with a couple other folks too, and a few other groups. Just kind of supporting each other. To keep our heads up. During these times and coming up with ideas that we maybe individually wouldn't have thought of. But now when we're talking, either as a small group or just one-on-one, and you hear about a person's life and background, you have some ideas pop up that you would not have normally thought of yourself. And so I'm grateful for that.
Excellent. We all learn from each other, and that's absolutely true. That's part of that supportive community, people who are going through the same thing, maybe in different ways, but we're the ones who can support each other through this process, and we're going to learn from each other. Okay, who's next?
Hey, Linda, it's Susan. I'll go.
Hey, Susan.
So just to, I don't know if this is going to be bringing some levity, but I wrote down, like, as things were popping into my head, thinking about gratitude, therapy, dogs, my spouse who has previously been unemployed and has the utmost understanding of what I'm going through, and I might circle back to that one. All of my basic needs are met. Perspective in,
Oh, I like
I
that.
think age and experience have given me perspective, and that also helps get through everything. My general good health, it's not great. My bones creak and stuff. I have high cholesterol. Generally speaking, I'm healthy. And I like to joke and say better living through pharmaceuticals. So I'm grateful for the scientific and medical community. Sue Griffey, you'll like that one. I see you smiling there. But yeah, I think and also, I made the decision 2 years ago to move to Pennsylvania to be closer to family, and never would have thought that I would have been laid off a year later. Just not even. So to be here with family, going through this, I have more time to spend with my family. Or the day that I got the news, I went to my mom's house and had a bottle of champagne. So I wouldn't have been able to do that if I'd been elsewhere. So, but yeah, I think overall, my husband was reorganized out of a job, and it came about at a time where our dog had been diagnosed with cancer. He stayed with her, and then his mother needed 24/7 care, so he moved in with her. So, and he didn't look for work again until she was no longer with us. So that was about 3 years. And he gets the struggle. He gets waking up in the morning and not having energy and just being tired. And where do I start today? He gets the highs and the lows. I had a phone screen. I was in Mexico last week on vacation with a family and had a phone screen, and I was riding high. I was great, but then it was like, well, it's 3 days in DC. Is that something I want to do? And we decided it wasn't. But back to the gratitude of just yeah, husband understanding, partner understanding, and it's making this a lot easier than it could otherwise be.
That's
I'll just
wonderful.
leave
Thank you. And how wonderful that your husband was able to spend that time with his mother to support her too. That's the whole idea. It's finding the good in the time that you're not working, in addition to what you're doing in the job search. The other things that you can do, the support that you can get, excuse me, the support you can give to each other, to yourselves, to your family, to your communities. It's wonderful. Thank you. Next. Anyone else want to share?
I shared in the chat earlier. This is Cheryl.
Hi,
I
Carol.
am great for the friends who helped me move, and also for the people that have been supported through me through my job search. So there's some, you know, when you go through hard times in life, there are your true friends show themselves to you, and that's a good thing.
It's absolutely a good thing. So thank you for sharing it. Okay, on the job search front, anybody have anything good going on there that they'd like to share? I mean, Susan mentioned that she just had a phone screen, whether it was a job she wanted or not. That's a win. That's a celebration.
Linda, I'm working with EDD, actually volunteering with EDD, Employment Development Department, State of California, from 2015 on and off. And but besides this government program for business development, there is another program which is called WIOA, Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act. And that program supported by County of Orange. And I remember the first time I applied for that program, they told me they are short in budget, because I hear that like 5,000 to 7,000 they help people for get the certification that they need for the a specific job that they are qualified for that job. But it was a month ago that they sent me an email that, Cyrus, are you interested in this program? And I said, yeah. So I have recently registered for that program. And as you know, with this program, you get the opportunity to connect with a lot of different kind of resources, and I hope that I can find or land the job with this program as soon as possible.
That's fantastic. For those of you who don't know it, WIOA, WIOA is the Workforce Innovation Opportunities Act. It is a federal program. It is specifically designed, it's a grant program, which means you don't have to pay it back. But it is specifically designed to provide job-related training to help you improve or gain a new skill specifically for the job search. It is a fantastic program. If you're not familiar with it, go to the website of your local unemployment office, because while it is a federal program, it is administered by each individual state and or county. In Illinois, for example, each county has some of their own rules and some of their own maximum amounts that they are willing to spend on you. So you really have to check it out. Not all training programs are covered, but there are so many of them out there that if you know what you're looking for, what skill you need to update, or what new skill you want to find, then I highly recommend checking out the WIOA programs. Now, if you are checking Okay. And you want to run one of those options by me, please reach out. In the state of Illinois, for example, I know that there are some good schools offering those programs and some that are not so good. Okay. But we can double check and see what's going on. But it is a fantastic way of updating those skills. And if you want to know what skills you should really update or which skills are in most demand, take a look at the last 20 job postings that intrigued you. Put together a quick spreadsheet. Here are the things they wanted. Here's what I have. Here's what I don't. And if you're finding that more than half of the jobs on your list are looking for that same skill that you don't have or that you don't feel as current in, that might be one for you to pursue. But otherwise, there are so many options out there, it can be overwhelming. Cyrus, keep us posted. I want to hear what kind of a program to sign up for.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, it's great. Now, I do have to tell you that not everyone will qualify for the WIOA program. And I will also tell you that I have chosen not to learn all of the requirements because they vary so much, but there are income-based requirements for you and or for your family. If you are currently getting unemployment, it's almost a guarantee that you will qualify. But for many of us, that time is not there, okay? But there are so many other people, so many other ways of qualifying for those programs that I absolutely, you have nothing to lose by checking it out. And it is a great way of upping those skills and adding to your resume, to your background, to your LinkedIn profile, to your own skill set, to make your own confidence level. So do check it out. Go to your local unemployment website, check for training opportunities, look under WIOA. Okay, WIOA. That's great. Okay. Thanks, Cyrus. That's a great thing to move forward to great job search. Okay.
You're welcome.
We've had two. Who else has a job search related something to be grateful for? Are you finding jobs out there to apply for?
That's what I was going to say is there does seem to be quite a lot of activity. I feel like, I mean, I'm not getting called back, but I am applying for things. So
Good. Okay. In fact, I think we're talking next week about the whole December job search or holiday job search dilemma. Should we apply or should we not? And what does that look like? But absolutely. Susan, did you still have your hand up or did you just take it down?
Yeah, I did. How about now?
Now we can hear
Better?
you. Yes.
Okay, so that I mentioned I'm having internet issues on the laptop, but the phone's working fine. Job things to be grateful for. You know, the time, so it's been since February and I keep feeling more focused in what I'm looking for. I think working with some of the VIPs has helped me just really understand what I want to do. And so I'm grateful that those very few positions I've applied for, I've gotten a response on, either a phone screen or an interview or an informational call or something. But I hear, and this is I'm going to get on a little soapbox for a minute here. I hear people who are applying to 50 jobs a week, 100 jobs a week, and they don't hear anything back. And I don't understand that unless it's from a need perspective. Like you need something, so you're putting it out there. But I take the time to be really diligent and vigilant about where I'm applying, who I'm applying to, learning about the company, crafting my resume, crafting my cover letter, being really specific. And I think it pays off in that I get responses. And granted, I still don't have the job, but I understand the rationale behind each decision that's been made. So no hard feelings, not taking anything personally, just not the right fit, not the right time, not the right opportunity. I get all of that. So I guess there could be, again, the perspective that I mentioned before, that all this work is going to pay off eventually. And Yeah, that's where I'll end. I'm getting over a head cold here, so the thoughts are a little bit jumbled, but
That's okay.
thanks.
And actually, thanks for pointing that out. That whole idea of feeling like you have to apply to X number of jobs a week, whether it's your head that says it or something else. But if you're just spraying and praying, if you're sending out 50 resumes a week, you're not taking the time to really see whether or not, first of all, this is the right job for you, but to demonstrate that to somebody else. So Susan, I applaud your approach. You're going to go to so many, you may apply to fewer jobs, but you're applying for the right jobs and you're seeing the results. You're seeing people responding to you. And that's fantastic. Congratulations. Mary.
Hi. So sorry I joined late. I got distracted with Thanksgiving preparations. I was wrangling a focaccia. So I am grateful that I'm able to get like screening calls and interviews. My conundrum right now is I get into the final group, but I'm not getting an offer. So I'm trying to reevaluate like connecting the dots in the interview between my skill set and the responsibilities. I feel like maybe that's where I'm not doing a good enough job selling myself. But I'm grateful for the learnings because I adjust as I go along. I also don't apply to that many jobs. But what I'm finding is that sometimes you see the job and, you know, you're trying to like, you know, make sure your resume is perfect and your cover letter is great. And then you go back and the job's taken down. It's like 9,000 people who didn't qualify for the job applied and you kind of missed the boat. So I'm trying to be more diligent about that because it's like you can't take the time to really think it through. You kind of have to act when you see the position. So you know, I'm hoping that all my learnings are going to help me land something shortly. That's my hope.
So when you're saying the job is taken down, does that mean that the posting is taken down from the company's website, Mary, or from, say, a LinkedIn posting?
Usually both, because they're usually connected to each other. You know, like if you go, I'm not talking about like, I've seen situations where like there was a position in my industry for, it was a step down for me. So I have a feeling that's why I didn't get in the mix, but they posted the job through Easy Apply because it's a smaller subdivision of a company in the United States. No, but they responded to me. So because I know, so I reached out to them, they responded, they basically said that, you know, they had my resume, they received my resume, and if they were interested in talking to me, they would call me. They never called me. But what my point was that some of these jobs, like that job was only up for 2 days because they got so many responses. And so it was literally, if you're looking like once a week, you're not going to catch some of those jobs. So I think that's the part that's hard because everybody says, don't be scrolling every day. But if you're not, the way the situation is right now, you could miss out on an opportunity. So it's like, you got to see it and react to it. You know, that's the hard part, I think.
It is, but let me give you a trick. 2 tricks. The first is I'm not a fan of Easy Apply because Easy Apply very rarely gives you the opportunity to really submit your resume to. What Easy Apply does is it really sends over your LinkedIn profile.
That's not what I do. I upload a custom resume. I don't do that. I actually upload a custom resume into my LinkedIn profile, and then I upload that into the job. And actually, I've had pretty good results with Easy Apply, but I use a custom resume and a cover letter.
And that's wonderful. If I can. You absolutely have to. So if you can't upload a cover letter, okay, then I would make for that particular application, make your cover letter a page of your resume.
Yeah, I've done that.
And that works. Okay. But here's the other thing is if the job has come down, one of the things that happens is when you see 900 people applying within 2 days, as you're right, most of those resumes don't fit. So go to the company's website. And if the job isn't listed there, most companies now have a spot, join our talent pool. Do it there. Put in your specialized resume and cover letter for that particular job. Find someone on LinkedIn in that talent acquisition department and say, I know the job has already been closed, but I wanted to let you know how excited I am about this kind of a position and your company, and here's why. And that I've added my resume to your talent pool. Love to talk to you at some point. Okay, looking forward to a conversation.
Okay, thank you for that.
Oh, absolutely. There's no guarantee it's going to work, but at least
But it's a, you know, it's another tactic you can use.
it's another tactic that's there. Okay,
Thank you.
Carol. Sure.
This isn't a grateful comment, but it's a question, because I wondered what you thought about cover letters, because I feel like they don't matter anymore. So I wanted to just have a discussion about whether you think they're needed, since we were just talking about them.
All right, so I'm going to do a very quick deviation and then we'll go back to the topic. But I'm team cover letter all the way. Both as a recruiter, as a job search coach, as a hiring manager, a talent acquisition manager, cover letters count. Now, it is absolutely true that not everybody's going to read them. But the fact that a cover letter is there tells me that you are concerned enough to make it this job you want, this company you want, not just any. In addition, if we're talking about the information, and a lot of people are concerned about an ATS screening you out. ATS doesn't screen you out, okay? However, in an ATS system, if I choose to, I can sort resumes. Which candidates do I want to talk to first? I'm going to skim them all. But in every ATS system that I've worked, if I put in skills X, Y, and Z, when I'm looking at your resume on screen, it will highlight X, Y, and Z, whether it's in your resume or in your cover letter. So it adds back in there. More importantly, the fact is that for most of us, and I'm talking now from the hiring manager recruiting perspective, if we're on the fence about you and your cover letter does more than just repeat what's in your resume, the cover letter makes the difference between whether I want to talk to or not.
Okay.
Okay. The cover letter is you. Why do you want to work here? What do you bring? What's your superpower? Okay. Is that pre-answer to those questions? But if you're just repeating what's in your resume, it's worthless.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You're very welcome. Okay. I wanted to talk though for another minute about one of the things that somebody said, and may have been Carol or Cheryl. No, Cheryl, sorry, who said, you're making it to further in the process, but not getting past that final stage, getting to the interview or to the offer. Was that Cheryl?
It was Carol.
Carol, sorry about that.
I think it was me and Carol.
Okay, all right, Mary, sorry about that. But here's an opportunity to use gratitude to help you keep your foot in the door. How many of us send a thank you note after rejection, after an interview? We all send a thank you note after an interview. But if you get turned down and you're not going from one stage to another after that interview, my recommendation is go back with another thank you. Because what that does is, thank you for the opportunity. I'm so excited about this company. I really would like to continue. Give them another couple of reasons, not a why didn't you take me, right? The oh me why. But something positive about them. As part of that thank you, you might ask, can you tell me what I can do to better prepare myself for a role like this or a role with the company next time? Ask whether or not you can keep in touch. If they say no, nobody's going to say no. Okay. But keep in touch every once in a while. Find a reason to reach back out. Not, how did this work? Is this person still available? I want to, right? But something that is, again, related to the job. It's your professionalism moving you forward. You would be amazed at how few people actually send a thank you note after an interview. but how many fewer people send a thank you note after a rejection from an interview process? You will remain top of their mind. Okay, especially if you do it in that positive manner. And if you follow back up, I can point to 3 people that I've worked with over the years for whom that follow-up, that thank you after the interview rejection, landed them a relationship with the hiring manager and with the talent people, which invited them to reach back out to my client and say, gee, I know that that last position didn't work, but we're really excited about your background. Would you be interested in applying for X? It's a different kind of a role, but what do you think? And 2 of those 3s actually got offers. It's also that way of continuing to build that relationship. And sitting on that other side of the desk, you're used to getting yelled at or getting that nothing. So to have somebody reach out positively and say, thank you, I know that this wasn't the right fit, but thanks for the opportunity. And I learned a lot about you and the company. That's amazing. You will definitely stay top of my mind. And then keep connected with that person on LinkedIn, commenting on their posts, their comments, commenting on what's going on with the company, following that company. You will remain top of mind. And the next time you apply, they will remember you. No guarantees, but much more likely. Okay. And it's also your way of turning around that, gee, it didn't work, into a positive action for you by expressing that gratitude to somebody else. Okay. All right. Frank, one of the things that we've been talking about here is that whole idea of gratitude in the job search market. Okay, and how tough it is, but how important it is. Do you have a success you'd like to share?
I just got out of an interview. That's a success, I guess. Yay, me, right?
Absolutely.
This is for a contract role. I've never worked contract, so it's one of those, wow. But yeah, sounds like a fun job. We'll see. Who knows if it'll progress? It's a crapshoot. I'm going to write a book, and that's what it's going to be called. It's a crapshoot.
Send me a draft. I'd love to read it. Okay, but every interview is an opportunity. You never know where it's going to lead. But I want to talk for a quick minute about other ways that you all can express gratitude and how that helps other people and helps you as well. So earlier in the call, Bo asked how you all could help me, and I mentioned the idea of endorsements and recommendations. Endorsements and recommendations are ways that you can express gratitude toward other people, and you can pay it forward. So what I want to do real quick, let me see whether I can do this, is I want to share my screen to show you what endorsements look like and how you find where, there we go. Okay. So you can only endorse someone who is a first level connection. It's one of the reasons that I'm suggesting that you all put your LinkedIn URLs in the chat and that you connect with one another. Those first level connections are really important in order to do some of this. So if somebody is willing, okay, let's see. Have you all connected with me? I'm just looking at my screen real quick. Carol, are you and I first level?
Yes, we are. I think so. Let me see.
Willing for
I'll
me to
double
take a
check.
look at the profile real quick?
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Yep. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to go down to Carol's skill set. You can have 50 different skills on your profile. Okay. My recommendation is to include all 50. You can change them out if it's something you no longer want to do. But you'll notice that only 2 of them actually show up on your profile. I have to click see all 50 in order to see them all. You want to make sure that you have arranged these, rearranged them so that the 2 that you most want to be found for are the 2 that show up at the top of the screen. Not only that, you'll notice that all of these bubbles here say endorse. So for all of you, once you have connected with someone, you can do this in our private group. You can do it now in our chat. Tell us what 3 to 5 skills you would like us to endorse you for. Now, LinkedIn, I hope you're not listening. However, as far as I'm concerned, endorsements don't mean a whole heck of a lot. Okay? Because all I have to do is click. Recommendations mean so much more, and we're going to talk about those in a minute. But from the LinkedIn's algorithm standpoint, endorsements count. In fact, Mary, Carol, the first ones that show up on your profile, event planning and project management, I don't know whether those are still things you want to do, but the LinkedIn algorithm isn't going to find those.
Yeah, no, those I reordered them and I didn't realize those were the 2 that came up top. So I need to rearrange them again.
But not only that, unless there's at least one endorsement for the skill, it won't show up in the LinkedIn search bars.
Yeah, it used to be strategy and leadership and I don't know what else. So I need to put that back.
So go through that. And if you want to, oops. Are you playing with it now?
No.
No, LinkedIn just did that. That was interesting. Okay.
You bounced somewhere. Oh, you hit on, you hit on strategic planning, so it went somewhere else, I
That
think.
may be. Okay. So if there are 3 to 5 of these that you would like me to endorse you for while I'm on your profile, let me know.
Yeah, I'll take strategic planning, communications. What else do I have down there? Stakeholder management, strategic communications. Yeah.
Strategic planning for 200, wink.
Exactly.
Exactly. You know, and sometimes you're absolutely right. It feels like you're playing the game with this. Okay, I missed one.
You could do either internal comms or corporate comms. I think corporate comms is a little bit up there, so.
So here's the other reason that endorsements are important. Not only do you have to have an endorsement for that skill in order for it to show up, but the more endorsements you have for the skills you want to be found for, the higher you are likely to come up in that search when it happens. So if Carol has 51 endorsements for corporate communications and Susan has 2, and I'm searching for corporate communications, Carol is going to come up higher in the list. So make sure that the ones that you're asking people to endorse you for, number 1, are the ones you really want to be found for. And then you can front load some of those. Okay. Now, the other thing that I wanted to do.
I have a question.
Absolutely.
I actually have 2. So let me start with the skills component. A lot of my skills I have many endorsements for, but they aren't the ones necessarily in the job description for. So I've been struggling with like, oh gosh, I've got 35 endorsements for, I don't know, bilingualism or something. And it's like, it's like, I really would like at a higher level, right? More of a strategy thing like Carol's doing. but it would start with 0. So should I do that? Should I not do that? That's the first question. Second question is on connections and like connections with yourself or any other recruiter. Somewhere I remember hearing on LinkedIn that it's the second level that comes up on a search, not your first levels. And so you need to be careful on connecting with recruiters for that reason. And I was like thinking, is that true or not true? I don't remember anymore. I can't remember if I've even tried to look at that. I'm connected with so many people these days, it's hard to get to a second level.
So I've not heard that one recently, Cyrus, or excuse me,
It's
wrong
Frank.
person.
It was Frank.
Yep. All right. So let me go to Frank's profile instead.
That's me on top.
Yep. I've not heard that recently, but it is one that I will check out for you. Okay. So do me a favor. When you get into the private chat, ask that question again, which will be the private group in the chat there. Go ahead and do that, post that comment, and I will make sure that I research it and find it again. Okay.
Cool.
But in terms of the skills, if you've got lots of endorsements for something and it's not what you want to do anymore, either remove it or move it down. If the skill is there, then, and I'm searching for that skill and it's not something you want to do, you may still show up in my search. So that's a waste of your time and theirs. I know it feels icky to delete a skill or move it further down in the list if you've got lots of endorsements, but it's no longer what you want to do. But remember, this is about you finding your next forever job, hiring your next employer, and you want to do what you want to do. Okay, whether it's in that contract role or whether it's in what we hope will be more of a regular or semi-permanent role. Okay, you want to make sure that it's what you're doing. So absolutely, if you want to remove some of those, even though they have lots of endorsements and they're not what you want to do anymore, remove them. Okay. Now, one of the other things that I wanted to do, so do go ahead and check all those for everybody. You know how to endorse people. So I'm going to recommend that you do it. But down here underneath the skill section, it says recommendations. Endorsements, all I have to do is click. A recommendation, I'm putting some thought into. If you really want to express gratitude and pay it forward, endorse people, but also send out a couple of recommendations. Recommendations have to be based on what you know about that person. It can come from work. It can come from a volunteer group. It can come from groups like these. But you're talking about things that you know, and those recommendations carry a lot of weight. If the last recommendation that you have out there is from 2018, it's time to go start asking people for some. I know that's tough, right? But think about it. That's 5 years ago, almost 6. We want some of those current recommendations out there. It's okay to go to people and ask them to put some of those recommendations out there for you. In fact, as an example, Frank, if you wanted to, you could go to Stephen Hindle, who's the first one that shows up on your recommendations list. You could send him a private message, ask how things are going, and ask if he would mind revising the recommendation a little bit, okay? Changing it, updating it, and then it becomes current, resubmitting it. Okay, and then it becomes current, or asking someone else that you know for a recommendation. And there's a way to do that. Yes, Susan.
I'm curious. So I get recommendations that aren't on LinkedIn. So someone sends me an email and says some really nice stuff about, yeah, I guess that's probably it. Like if you get an email from someone thanking you, or like with the Red Cross, I've gotten some awards and stuff, and they write really nice things. Where, because I don't think I can how do I get that on here?
You have to ask them to do it. But there are two ways that you can do it. One is, I got this email this morning, and then it becomes a post. Okay. But what you can also do, and I'm going to have to do this for me because I can't do it from anybody else. So down here in the recommendations, I think that's what it is. If you're in your own profile and you're in that recommendation area, you can go in here and you can ask for a recommendation. So what you do is you go back to the person who wrote you that email and say, this is fantastic. I really appreciate this. Would you be willing to turn it into a LinkedIn recommendation for me?
Sure. And everybody's on LinkedIn. So I guess in that situation, I could just create a new post out of it.
Absolutely.
Got it.
Okay. The reason that I recommend sometimes doing it both ways is both turning it into a post as well as using it as a recommendation, is that the posts, unless you're pinning it in one of your featured, they have a tendency to slide away. I have to do more searching to find them, but the recommendations will show up on your profile anyway. Okay. So that's a good place to do it. I might add it and use it both ways.
Thank you.
No, thank you. It's a great question.
Linda, you give a lot of credence to recommendations then.
I think that they're important. They're what's called social proof. One thing for you to say, I can do this, something else for someone else to.
I guess I'm wondering if people actually read them. I never do. That's why.
You may not, but you're not a recruiter.
Understood. That's my question, I guess.
Okay, so am I going to guarantee that everybody is? No. Am I going to look to see whether or not you have some current? If I'm looking at your profile, probably. Because you all know that you're including your LinkedIn URL on your resume every time you send it out. I'm going to look at those profiles. I'm going to check you out. And if you're somebody I'm really interested in talking with, I may go down to the bottom and take a look at those recommendations. Yes, I think they're important. And because the LinkedIn algorithm changes all the time, it is possible. I don't know whether it's still working or not, but if they're using some of those keywords there, it may show up in their search as well. I don't know. Again, right now, what we're noticing is that for most of us, unless I have LinkedIn Premium for the, LinkedIn Recruiter, okay, I'm searching on the basis of skills, among other things. And that's what pops up. Skills and job titles. But recommendations are a great way of paying things forward. And yes, they do count. And my computer's giving me grief today. I apologize. Okay. So let me see. What other LinkedIn kinds of questions, not LinkedIn questions, but gratitude kinds of questions do you all have? That whole idea of paying it forward, thanking somebody without asking for return. So one of the questions that people sometimes have is, okay, how do I ask for a recommendation? How do I ask for an endorsement? You don't do it in a post. You do it in a private message, or you do it in an email. You cannot private message a whole group at a time. You can, okay. Again, LinkedIn don't listen, but you can write a message, put it in Word, and then copy and paste it into your DMs for individual people. But find people that you think you would like to have endorse you for certain things, preferably people who know a little bit about you. But it doesn't have to be. It can be any of us. Tell us what you want us to endorse you for. And I always recommend doing the give first and then the take. You know, I've been going through my LinkedIn profile, and it reminded me that endorsements are important. What 3 to 5 things would you like me to endorse you for? Right? Or you can just endorse somebody for something and they'll get a message saying you were endorsed by so-and-so for these skills, which is a reminder for them to go back and do it. Most people will reciprocate very quickly. You know, thanks. What would you like me to endorse you for? And you can only endorse somebody who's a first level connection. But use those DMs. Say happy Thanksgiving and. You can do the same thing in terms of asking for a recommendation. But I always recommend the give first and then and then the take. The difference is that for an endorsement, you want them to know, want them to have input into what you want to endorse them for. You want to know what their top 5 things are. Because as we've looked at a couple of these profiles, we know that not everybody changes things around so that the 2 skills that show up on their profile page are the ones they really want. So I want to know which ones you want. If you want to endorse somebody, you can do that without reaching out first. But if you want to, you can send them a DM. I'd like to add an endorsement for your profile. What kinds of things would you like me to emphasize? The thing with recommendations, and that's really what I meant there, okay? What would you like me to emphasize in that recommendation? The thing with recommendations is it doesn't automatically go into somebody's profile. The person who you've recommended sees what you've written first and then gets to say yes or no to add it to the profile. And if there's something that they would prefer that you emphasize instead, they can go back to you and say, hey, this is great, but would you mind? Okay, so they can help you draft it. I know some people who, from the recommendation standpoint, somebody says, you know, can you recommend me? Or reaches out to somebody and say, would you recommend me? And as part of that, would you recommend me? They include either a draft or some specific ideas that they want covered. But recommendations do count. And if nothing else, it's your way of feeling good about helping somebody else, giving them that recognition. Okay, makes you feel good too. So that gratitude really does help. If nothing else, what it does is it changes your focus from what isn't working to what is, from you to somebody else. And every time you help someone else, every time you do something for someone else, every time you express that gratitude, it helps to become that self-fulfilling prophecy of helping you too. Feeling good about you and about what you're doing really does help. So I want to express my thanks to all of you for taking time out of your day to be here, for sharing your ideas, your questions, yourselves with all of us. And for those of you who are cooking for the next couple of days, I'm with you. But whether you're cooking or whether you're enjoying or both, I want to wish you all a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. Enjoy your time with family, with friends. And if you need it, here's my permission to not job search. Okay. It's truly okay. And then we'll get back to it again on Monday. Before I go, are there any other questions or comments? Yes, Mary. Oh, your hand is, oh, that was a.
No, I was just clapping.
I appreciate that. By the way, those reactions, those are really good things. They help me too. Okay. Anything else I can do for any of you? Yes. All right. So I'm going to put back in, if you haven't already put your URL in the chat, make sure that you do. Make sure you connect with one another. You can only, I can only invite you to the Lunch and Learn private group if you and I are first level connections. So here's that link again. You can also, if you have not yet connected with me, here's my link.
Linda, this is Cheryl. Quick question. Do we need to sign up for each Lunch and Learn individually?
You do not. You need to sign up for it. The link that you did will go through the end of December.
Okay.
There will be a
How
new.
do I get the link then to join the call? Because the last few I keep having to sign up.
That's not the way it's supposed to work. Thank you for letting me know.
Well, I'm sure it could be user error. So.
I think that there should be a way for you to add it all to your calendar.
Okay.
It should give you every date from now until the end of December.
Okay.
Okay. So check your original email confirmation. If not, Cheryl, let me know.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. In fact, let me see whether I can do that. Aha. Copy the invite link. Okay. So Cheryl, I'm going to send you the link right now.
And which link is this?
This is the link. This is the meeting link.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Okay.
Oh, and that's the link forever or till the end of December?
Till the end of December.
Okay. Because you might be getting 15 messages from me, and that's why.
I'm not worried about it. That's fine.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. So there's that. And then let's see what else. And the reason that there's going to be a new link in the beginning of the year is just because I want to make sure that when I send out my emails to everybody, you still want to be getting them.
It's a good idea for security purposes too. That's why Cyrus and I were shaking our heads. Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. So yes, I will probably do it. I mean, this one was for a couple of months. Since you two are my security experts, what do you think? 3 months, 6 months? I don't want to do it every month. I think that's too much for you guys.
Yeah, maybe a quarter. I think 6 months is too long. It once it gets in the public, you're in trouble, right?
Okay. So we'll see how that goes. But thank you all. I'm going to stop the recording. Maybe.